Good morning. Last week we finished with Unit 8. Friday we did our retakes. We went over our math packets. I know a lot of people on Friday turned in math packets, and I'm getting those corrected now. Rosa is getting those corrected for us now. So we should be able to pass those back tomorrow. They are due on Friday. So remember, we went over it and we had class time to work on it because they are due a couple days early. They're due on a Friday because of spring break. So we will get you the math packets either today or tomorrow. We'll get those back to you so you can make any corrections before Friday. So make sure that you're working on the math packets. Make sure you're working on Khan Academy. Khan Academy is due on Thursday. So be working on that. Because we just finished Unit 8, today is our first day with our new unit. We are doing CO50. I can calculate the perimeter and area of rectangles and squares. So we can see what our new unit is going to be about. We are going to be working with perimeter and areas of different shapes. So our first one is the easiest one because we've worked with perimeter and area of rectangles and squares before. So we like to start off our units with easier objectives, and we're going to build on it as our unit goes on. So we're starting off with something that hopefully you'll remember and go, oh, I've done this before. We work with perimeter and area in our math packets. I know you worked in it last year. So let's look at what it is, just a refresher. The perimeter is the distance around a figure. For a figure with straight sides, the perimeter is the sum of the lengths of the sides. It is measured in linear units such as inches and feet. So when we look at a perimeter of a rectangle, let's say this is 2 and this is 2, this is 6 and this is 6. The perimeter would be adding up all of our sides. So that's how we find the perimeter. We just add them all up. 2 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6 equals 16. So our perimeter would be 16. I didn't write any measurements on there. So let's call it inches. So our answer would be 16 inches. Now the area is the number of square units needed to cover a figure. It is measured in units such as square inches and square feet. So we're looking at this, and what we're actually doing is we're breaking our rectangle up into now just imagine that they're all the same. We're dividing it up into those little squares, and instead of having to count each square, we can do it by multiplying the length by the width. So our length by our width, 6 times 2 equals 12. Now, because we're multiplying our measurements, that's where we get the square. 12 inches squared. Because we're multiplying inches by inches, it's inches squared. Some of us accidentally put our square like that. That's saying we're going to square the 12. That's saying it's going to be 144. We don't want to square the number. We want to square the measurement. So that measurement, the measurement over here is what is getting squared. So the difference between perimeter and area, perimeter, we're adding up all of the sides. Area is we're figuring out how much it would take to cover that inside. Gregory, it is a Monday. So we will see you later, sir. Make sure you know what the assignment is for today. Perfect. All right. And there's Mrs. Basika. I'm sending him. He's on his way. Thank you. Bye. All right, so our key concepts. Perimeter of a rectangle would be the 2 lengths plus the 2 widths. If it's for the square, we know the square has all the same sides. So we say it's 4s. You really just need to know one side measurement for a square, and then you multiply all by 4, because a square has 4 sides. So you don't have to add 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. You could just say 4 times 4. For the perimeter for the rectangle, we know that the 2 short are the same length, the 2 long are the same length. So if you only know one length and one width, you can still find that perimeter by writing out what the other lengths are. For the area, length times width. For a square, you just need to know that one side, and you're going to square it, because squaring it means you multiply it by itself. So if it is a square, and that side is 3, we know it's still length times width, but it's the same number. So we know that's going to be a 3. So we can just say it's 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. So when they say it's s squared, it's just saying because we know it's going to be the side times the side. They're the same number. It's a square. Remember, when you square something, it's that number times itself. So it would be 3 times 3. So finding a perimeter. Find the perimeter of a rectangular square with the given dimensions. So if we have a rectangle and a length is 5 and the width is 2, 5 feet and 2 feet, who can tell me what the perimeter would be? Mia.
14.
How did you get 14, Mia?
By adding up, because 5 plus 5 is 10, and I just added 4. Since 2 plus 2.
Yep. So Mia knew that she had to add up, even though we're only given 2 lengths, we had to fill in the other lengths on the missing parts. She knows that 5 plus 5 is 10, 2 plus 2 is 4, so 10 plus 4 gives us 14 feet. Our next one, it says the side is 3 centimeters. What is our perimeter? If we only know one side, what is it telling us about that shape, Will? It's a square. So how do we find the perimeter of a square with the side of 3 centimeters, Will? So you can fill in your missing numbers. And you add them all together. What is an easier way of doing it? This way works. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. So that way most definitely works. Is there an easier way we could do it? We know that there are going to be 4 3s, so we could just say 3 times 4, you are correct. Both ways we get 12 centimeters. They're both right. You can add up every side. That is totally fine. Or if you want to say, oh, it's easier just say 3 times 4. I know that's 12. You could do that too. Some of us are more comfortable adding. Some of us are more comfortable multiplying. You get the same answer. Any questions on finding a perimeter? Feeling comfortable finding perimeters? All right, let me scroll up. Finding the area. So remember, finding the area is length times width. If it's a square, it would be side squared. So our first rectangle has a length of 5 inches and a width of 3 inches. How do I find my area, Aiden?
You multiply 5 times 3.
I'm going to multiply them together. Length times width. What is 5 times 3 in 15? So what is my measurement going to be? Is it going to be just inches? Inches squared, because I'm multiplying inches by inches. So it is important that we remember to put inches squared. So for this assignment, when we're finding perimeter and area, it's important that we put the measurements with it. We need to remember measurements are important. So when we are doing area, it's important to remember we're multiplying the measurement by itself, so it is squared. Not the number, but the measurement is squared. Our next one says side equals 10. If they're telling us a side measurement, what do we know about our shape? Zoe? It's a square. So one side is 10 feet. How do I find the area of that? Priya? Say it again. Finding the area. Yeah, we're going to do 10 squared, which is the same as saying what?
10 times
10
10.
times 10. 10 squared is the same as 10 times 10. What is 10 times 10, Mia?
100.
100. What measurement do I put with this? Tristan?
Feet.
Do I just put feet? Because it's 10 feet times 10 feet. It's going to be squared because we did feet times feet. So it would be 100 feet squared. The reason it's important to differentiate between just feet and feet squared is if we just said 10 times 10, that would be one straight line of 100. When we say 100 feet squared, we know that it goes in the inside. There will be 100 squares inside of our square. When in real life does that become important? Anthony?
Building a house.
Building a house. Zoe?
Doing like carpets.
Doing carpet. Right.
Measuring houses.
Okay.
Like work in like your garden or something.
Okay. So when I'm working in the garden, I need to know the square feet of my garden for how much soil I need, how many plants I can put inside of it. I need to know the inside. I need to know the perimeter for how many bricks to put around my garden. That would be the perimeter. How many plants can I fit inside of the garden? I need to know the square footage. So how many plants can I fit? What is the area around it? Mr. Gambino and I are looking at redoing our upstairs bathroom, and we're going to be putting tile on. So we need to know the square feet of the surround in the shower and on the floor, so we know how much tile we have to buy. The tiles come in square feet. So we know how much to put. We don't want just to put around the outside of our bathroom. We want to put all on the floor, all on the wall. So we need to know how much tile. So it's important to know the difference between just feet versus square feet. Tristan.
Well, here's an example. If someone was building a bank, they would need to use this so that way they could build the right size bank, so that way they could fit all the money from the people that.
So they would need to know the vault size that they would need. Yes, the inside of the vault. Okay. How are we feeling about the area of squares and rectangles? Thumbs up, thumbs shaky. Feeling good? Are you a little shaky? Okay, good.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes, what's your question?
So, when you're finding the
Mhm.
perimeter, do you have to do it square?
When you're finding the perimeter, you're not multiplying the two measurements together. So it's just going to be singular.
Okay.
So we know it's just a straight line.
Okay.
So it would just be inches. It would just be feet. But when you're doing the area, you're doing the inside of it.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you're like multiplying like 10 feet times like 12 inches, do you have to put squared or like?
So if you were going to do 10 feet times 12 inches, what would we have to do first before we could multiply them together?
Convert it into one measurement.
We need to multiply the same measurement. So we couldn't multiply feet and inches together. We would have to convert it. 12 inches is 1 foot. So if we did 10 feet times 1 foot, then it would be feet squared. Okay. When you have two different measurements, you wouldn't say feet inches squared. That would be kind of goofy looking. So you have to convert it to the same measurement. That answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Our last one is using perimeter and area. Real life. Okay. Like I was just talking about. We use this all the time as an adult. Not so much when you're in 6th grade, but you will use it the older you get, the more projects you do. Those of us that are painters, okay, artists, you use this a lot. How much square feet? What size canvas do I want? How much paint do I need for that canvas? So you'll use it more the older you get. Right now in 6th grade, you go, I never do that. But trust me, as an adult, you're doing projects around the house, definitely going to use it. A lot of people do use it in their jobs also. So here's a real life example. In a wheelchair slalom event, athletes weave around cones and race to the finish line. The length of the rectangular course is 30 meters. The width is 15 meters. So we have our course. Our length is 30 meters. Our width is 15 meters. And they've got cones on the inside that they are weaving around to get to the finish line. Find the perimeter and the area of the course. How do I find the perimeter of this course? Nick.
You have to add 15 plus 15 and then 30 plus 30.
15 plus 15, 30 plus 30, because we know rectangles, opposite sides are the same length. 15 plus 15 is 30, so it's 30 plus 30 plus 30, which gives us 90 meters. Because when we add our measurements, it's not squaring it, that's only when we multiply, so it's just 90 meters. How do I find the area? So this is my perimeter. How do I find my area? To find my area, remember that's length times width. So you're right. So finding the area is when you're multiplying them. So my area would be 15 meters times 30 meters equals what?
450
450
inches squared, or whatever the meters. Yes.
meters squared. So remember, it's important that we put our measurement, meters squared. Any questions? Thumbs up, thumbs wavy. I don't think we have any thumbs down for this one. Mostly thumbs up. All right, our assignment for today is at page 11 and 12, I believe is what I have written down. Yep, pages 11 and 12 in your workbook. It is a quiet work time. If you get finished, you can work on Khan Academy. You can work on your math packet. Those of us at home, we hope you are well, and we hope to see you soon.